Okay, this is classwork 1117. I'm going to have you copy all of the work, the words, and then listen for the instructions for today, the Google slide work with the Flipgrid video. So here we go. Knowing that an equation has an equal in it and an inequality, no equal, but one of those alligator symbols. Knowing that anything close to a capital L is less than, and if it goes the more than direction doesn't look like an L. So know that. Know just by looking at the inequality if it's less than looking like an L or if it's the more than. Just gotta know that. Gotta memorize that. First word is Canada. Canada. So again, back to an equation here. Variables on both sides. Again, we've been doing these. You can do this. Start by always eliminating the number on the left side by doing the opposite. All of these problems, you start by doing that. Opposite of plus 2, subtracting 2 to both sides of that equation line right there. I always do the same inverse operation to both sides. These, because they're the opposites, that's what inverse means. These go away. Bring this 4x down, bring this equal down, bring this 2x down. 10 minus 2 gives me 8. Stay on that side of the equation and subtract that 2x. So minus 2x to both sides of the equation makes these 2x's cancel. 4x minus 2x gives me 2x. Bring down the equal, bring down the 8, and then my last step, divide by 2. Go back to that left side and divide. Left, right, left. Always start on the left side, go back to the right, and then end up on the left. First two steps involve adding, subtracting things away. Only that third step is something different, division. X equals 4. One solution. Write that down. What's the solution? 4. All right, next one. Now I have an inequality. And again, before we get into today's kind of problems, basic inequality, no flipping, where that 2, get rid of that 2, same thing. These 2's cancel away. Bring down 5x. Bring down the inequality there. Don't put an equal. 3x, this gives me 8. Stay on that side, same math. All this math is the same. Eliminate that 3x to both sides. Bring down 2x. Leave that inequality in that less than direction, 8. And then right there, divide by 2. None of that math is different. That math is the same. Only my answer not being x equal 4, but x less than 4. All numbers less than 4. And again, to get full credit, I'm going to have you write that out just so you can list. If you listed numbers, you get them. This is x is more than 4. All right, second word is Mexico. Mexico. All right, and then on the number line, knowing that this is 4, gotta be able to list some numbers to the right and left of that 4 to show me your understanding of a number line. And then on that 4, you got to put a clear open circle there. Remember, if I had the less than or equal to line, I would fill in that circle, but since that's not there, I do a open circle. And then anything, whoops, this is not more than, let's fix that. Big mistake, I'm sorry. That is definitely less than. I see that now. Please fix that. Less than looks big like an L. So less than is anything shaded to the left. And then again, for those of you listening, this would be in set notation, negative inequality, negative infinity to 4 rounded. All right, here we go. Last two problems and instructions. Today's stuff, we're doing inequalities, but when you divide by the last number, it's going to be negative, and that's going to take this inequality and rotate it around. This one's starting off with the less than direction, but you watch. I'm going to divide by a negative number, and it's going to end up in the more than direction at the end of this. So here we go. For this one, I'm going to start by getting rid of this 7 by doing the oppo, same kind of math. Minus 7 to both sides. These will cancel away. Bring down the negative with the 3x. Just don't bring down 3x. Bring down my inequality, and then get this 21 right there. Don't jump the gun and flip the inequality yet. Right here, the opposite of timesing by negative 3, dividing by negative 3. And that's the key step right there. When you're dividing by a negative number, what happens is this side used to be negative, and now it's nice and neat, positive x. And then over here, it used to be positive 21, but then when I divide by a negative, it flips it to negative 7. To keep this inequality true, I got to change that from the less than direction to the more than direction at the end. And the reason, again, you do this, and just write this down, is basic inequality fundamentals. 6 more than negative 3. That is a true statement. 6 is more than negative 3. I could add or subtract any number, and that does not change the integrity of that inequality. It's still true. It's still true. But what happens is when I take an inequality and I don't just add or subtract, I divide or multiply by a negative number, what happens here, just maybe demonstrate dividing by negative 3, it takes one side that used to be positive and it switches it to negative, and then the other side used to be negative and now it's positive. So if you leave that inequality that same direction, that's no longer true. When you're doing that division by a negative and it switches, you got to also make sure you take that inequality and rotate that around too to keep that true. That is a key concept that we're looking at today. Dividing or multiplying by a negative number flips around your inequality. So for this one, now it's more than negative 7, and then this is tricky one, negative 7 to the right, negative 6, negative 5, negative 4. To the left, negative 8, negative 9, negative 10. Practice your number line fundamentals. And then open circle on negative 7. More than is always to the right. Doesn't matter, positive, negative, more than to the right. This is more than. Doesn't look like an L. Started with a less than look, but because I divided by negative 3, switched it around to more than. Next word is Spain. Spain. All right, one more. For this one, get rid of this 3. Same kind of math for a variables on both sides inequality again. Bring down this 5x. Bring down your inequality. Leave it. Bring down 7x. This gives me 10. Stay on that side of the inequality and eliminate that 7x by doing the oppo, minus 7 and x. And then, of course, these cancel away because these are opposites. 5 minus 7 gives me negative 2x. I could show you how to use the calculator for that. More than or equal to 10. And then right here, I'm dividing by this negative 2. Since I'm dividing by a negative 2, I have to make sure I flip around my inequality. I have to switch it around. 10 divided by negative 2 gives me negative 5. So again, tricky ones, which started out with this less than direction, switched now in the final answer to, I'm sorry, I messed that up. What started out in the more than direction, more than, switched to the less than or equal to direction in the final part of my answer. So on this one, negative 5 in the middle, to the right, -4, -3, -2 to the left. Got to know how your number line's structured. This is going to be a solid, clearly solid circle. Be able to draw it clear enough so I could see it. And then less than is to the left. All those numbers to the left. And of course, those of you listening to me, set notation, rounded -7, infinity rounded. Over here, set notation, -infinity to -5 square. All right, now finally, the instructions for what I want you to do today. What I'd like you to do today is, as a row, go to the class slides and find your rows slide by your row 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I want you to copy this onto one person in your row's Google Slides. So pick a person in your row, and on that Google slide, paste that depending on the row you're in. So it looks like this person's in row 6. So I would go to the row 6 problem if I'm part of row 6. Paste that on there. As a row, hover around that computer or get on your own computer and do the work for these. And then I'm going to have you flip grid it. This is tricky. I'm going to have you, as a row, go back to the class slides after you've done this work. Click on the flip grid and then explain your problem as a row. So again, for example, if I'm row 6 and I've copied this onto a person in row 6's slideshow, we're going to be doing the work here together. So using the tools of Google Slides to show all this work. I'll make sure that you have a number line on there to use. And then when, again, this is all done, I'm going to have you flip grid it. I'm going to have you go to the class slides, hit this flip grid link, and let me try to demonstrate how you flip grid your screen. So you're going to click on this flip grid link that's going to be there. Add response. You're going to change it by hitting the little dots in the top to record screen and hit start recording screen. You could X this out so your face doesn't show if you don't want to. Click on that so it's blue, hit share. And then of course, go to your slides that you and your people in your row did and explain what you did. So if your row 6's, you're going to be I -3 to both sides gives me -6 more than or equal to 12, and that gives me -6 dividing by gives me x at the final step, x less than or equal to, and then have each person in your row explain it, maybe have the number line here, and then hit stop sharing. It will let you review. It will let you edit. If you like what you did, of course, then you hit next. Just right here, type the row and period if you could. Next word is Portugal. Portugal. And then hit post a topic. And then we're going to watch them today in class. Promise, promise. All right, so again, for these instructions, I know it's kind of confusing, but I'm going to have you find your rows problem, copy it onto someone's Chromebook in your row. You for sure could copy it onto everyone's if you want. And then once you find or once you work on that problem as a row, probably best thing would be to have everyone working on it at the same time. Then when you go to presentation mode, pick someone's Chromebook to click the flip grid link and record the screen, having each person talk. And of course, I'll be walking around talking about these instructions a little bit better to help you out in class. We're going to be watching these today. Last word is England. England. Thanks for listening. Good luck. Talk to you in a bit.